Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. John, we're going to start with you because I think there's a lot going on here, right? I think there are multiple people who are trying to figure out how to deal with the former president when he does these things. Alvin Bragg, Republicans, Democrats, other prosecutors, heck, Donald Trump's own lawyers. Were they caught off guard by this post?
Donald Trump's staff. Everybody was caught off guard by this post. I don't think anybody expected him to go out there and say that he expected to be arrested. As you said in your opening, this is kind of his pattern of getting the news out there first and trying to control the narrative on it. But it was shocking this morning. I mean, I got a phone call from NBC this morning saying, how fast can you get into the office? So we were all taken aback by it. And as it turns out, he doesn't actually have anything to justify what he said about expecting to be arrested on Tuesday. His spokesperson said that he was going off of basically media reports about the possibility that he might be indicted this week. As you noted, NBC reported that law enforcement is preparing for the possibility because there are so many different law enforcement agencies that would be involved in dealing with an indictment, from the U.S. Secret Service to the local law enforcement officials in New York, that they have to have some sort of plan in the event that it does happen.
Yes, I remember January 6th, and then you look at the investigation that went into that and the criticisms of law enforcement. It seems to me they're proactively mobilizing, if you will, at this point. In terms of protests, because that is also what the former president called for in this statement, you have folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we're going to put her tweet up on the screen. She said this in a tweet. She said, "We don't need to protest about the communist Democrats' planning to arrest President Trump and the political weaponization of our government and election interference." Okay, so first of all, there's a lot to unpack in her own statement, but that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. What has been the reaction from other Republicans? We saw what Speaker McCarthy said. And I would like to note, Speaker McCarthy didn't have to say anything.
Well, let's step back for a second. Speaker McCarthy has all this power that he's talking about, the power of the federal government. This is a threat to the Manhattan prosecutor. He says, we're going to use a federal investigation to look at all of the funds that might have supported something like that. So if you look into federal funding, how does that filter down to local law enforcement, to local prosecutors? This is a threat from Kevin McCarthy and should be read that way. In the same vein, what Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying there basically is she understands what happened the last time Donald Trump called for a protest. We all saw January 6th. If something like that were to happen again after he made a call, I think the strength of the federal prosecutor Jack Smith's argument about inciting a riot, if he makes that argument in an indictment or in a prosecution, makes it all the stronger.
Yeah, Charlie, I want to bring you in here because what is your reporting telling you that I know the Manhattan DA's office is declining to comment, but what is the chatter, if there is any? And then when it comes to these multiple investigations into the former president, do you think that this is the investigation that poses the biggest risk to him long term?
Well, this is certainly an investigation that looks like it is the first to go in terms of a decision about seeking a grand jury indictment appears to be nigh. He's not wrong that this is the week we've all been looking at. He just sort of made up that it was Tuesday. So when you're cautioning your viewers that this was based on no evidence, that's correct. But it's also, it would not surprise anyone if something happened this week. We've all been looking for it, and that's why those preparations were happening. Also the case in Georgia with the local prosecutor in Atlanta seems to be ripe. We know that the special grand jury recommended various charges. She now has to decide whether to seek an indictment, but the investigation is basically done. And by contrast, the federal special counsel investigations based out of Washington, one into January 6th and Trump's attempts to cling to power writ large, not just in Georgia, and the other about the Mar-a-Lago documents affair, seem to be much further behind. So these two local prosecutions are the ones that are queued up to go first if something happens.
Anything from Alvin Bragg's office? Is there any chatter in New York behind the scenes today on this?
My understanding is that the Bragg's office is totally locked down. They are not saying anything. And Trump, of course, accused them of leaking. The open secret about all cases, not just this one, is that what is known about an investigation before an indictment is almost always coming from defense attorneys, witnesses to the grand jury who only have a pinhole eye of what's really happening, or lawyers for the defendant who are trying to spin something that may or may not be reliable. And then they always blame the prosecution, but rarely is it, in fact, coming out of the prosecution's office.
Very important point, Charles. As a former prosecutor here, I wonder your take on what John Allen said about what came from Speaker McCarthy amounted to a threat to Alvin Bragg. It sounded they're threatening Alvin Bragg, and also your take on the post from former President Trump this morning. Again, baseless, frankly, at this point, and everyone should be urging caution. But if you were a prosecutor on this case, would you be concerned?
Well, I don't think that Donald Trump's statement is going to concern me because at the end of the day, as a former prosecutor, I can tell you Alvin Bragg is going to do what Alvin Bragg is going to do. He has a case in the grand jury, in front of that grand jury, and his goal at this time is to get a true bill from that grand jury and secure an indictment. It doesn't appear that that's done yet. It doesn't appear that that jury presentation is even over. So President Trump, or former President Trump's tweet, is extremely premature because at this point it's not even certain that Alvin Bragg has an indictment to present and arrest Donald Trump on and arraign him. So all of those things have yet to take place. So if I'm Alvin Bragg, I'm not thinking about that. I'm instructing my assistants to move forward with the presentation and get that true bill because that's the first step that's necessary to make all these other things happen. With respect to Speaker McCarthy, I do think that John's point is valid and should be watched very, very carefully going forward because this might be witness intimidation.
I want to play something for you all. Donald Trump's lawyer told my colleague Ari Melber this week that the former president's payments to Stormy Daniels were not illegal. Take a listen to this.
Even if you put in your checkbook, or I'll use me as an example. I put in my checkbook, I bought a car and I wrote, I purchased a horse. That's inaccurate. That's a lie, maybe. But there's no crime there because this filing was not for the purpose of influencing an election. There wasn't something being hidden. There was no obligation to disclose this to an election campaign committee at all.
Charles, does this argument hold legal water, especially because the argument that was being made when Michael Cohen was charged was, in fact, that this was being concealed because the Trump folks were concerned about the effect on the election?
I wouldn't look at it as the strongest defense if I was him, Simone. I think that it does have some significant challenges, especially given the analogy that he uses. Your personal checkbook is not something that you're filing as a legal document in terms of verifying what the funds that you are documenting them for and how they were used. So that is number one in terms of how that actual analogy fails. I will say, however, that the DA in Manhattan, Alvin Bragg, is proceeding on somewhat of a tenuous legal theory. I know that that is something that people may not necessarily want to hear, but in the broader scope of different investigations that Trump is under and potential prosecutions for things that he's actually done, this is not necessarily the most severe of the crimes that he will be facing. That being said, it's also important to note that Alvin Bragg did take a look at this legal theory earlier and for some reason declined not to prosecute. I am interested to figure out what it is that changed between now and then that has made him move forward at this time.
And again, we have yet to see an indictment. I appreciate Jonathan Allen, Charles Coleman, and Charlie Savage for kicking us off today with nothing but the facts and the truth. Thank you all very, very much.